In the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful. Hello everyone, this is Dr. Tariq Masood. Thank you very much for watching my video and your exceptional support to make this channel a grand success. We are a partner, so please subscribe our channel if you haven't done so far. We as a team can convert our challenges into opportunities and opportunity into success stories. These success stories can be monetized into value additions. Thank you very much again. So far, we have discussed a 4 lecture. First were extraversion, introversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, and judging, perceiving. So these 4 senses have been discussed, and we run a simulation model, and their opposite pole also describe how these senses are opposing to each others. Okay. Now, in this lecture, we will recap all 4 senses and then we'll conclude in lecture number 6 and 7. Okay, first we'll describe extraversion, introversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, judging, perceiving. And then we will give more detail about these 4 lecture which we have already discussed in our earlier lectures. Okay. First is extraversion and introversions. What is extraversion and introversion? Here's extraversion: focus on the outside world to get energy through interacting with people and doing things right. And introversions focus on the inner world and get energy through reflecting on information, ideas, and concepts. Okay. Now on second, sensing and intuitions here. So in sensing and intuitions, first the sensing here notices and trusts facts, details, and present ground realities, and intuitions to attend and trust interrelationship theories and future possibilities. In number 3 here, thinking and feeling, deciding or come to the conclusion about the information on thinking and feeling. What is basically thinking? Make decisions using logical and objective analysis. Number 1. And what is the opposite of feelings? Preference feelings. Make decision to create harmony by applying person-centered values. Okay. Number 4 here, judging and perceiving, dealing with the world around us. First is the judging and perceiving here. Okay. Tend to be organized and orderly to make decisions quickly. Tends to be flexible and adaptive to keep your options open as long as possible. That is how these 4 senses are opposing to each others. So now we are going to give more. Okay, key takeaway points on personality assessment, lecture number 5th. So the first is what is the extraversion, introversion and their impact. What is the sensing and intuition and their impact. What is the thinking and feeling and their impact. Judging, perceiving. Number 5th is the communication style in enhancement, change management in enhancement. Number 7, conflict management in enhancement. So these are 7 key takeaway points from lecture number 5th. Okay, as we discussed earlier, so personality assessment constituted into 4 pairs, and each pair has 2 segments or 2 senses which are opposing to each others. Okay, we will talk about from clockwise from extraversion to introversions. So what is the extraversion and introversions? Extraversions prefer extraversions, focus on the outside world to get energy through interacting with the people and or doing things right. That is how extraversions sense is behaving. Second is introversion sense. What is the introversion sense? Focus on the inner world and get energy through reflecting on information, idea, and concept. Okay, that is the first pair. In the second pair here, sensing and intuitions. What is the sensing? Described here. Prefer sensing. You notice and trust facts, detail, and present ground realities. And intuitions, you prefer intuition to attend and trust interrelationship theories and future possibilities, what have been discussed in intuitions. In number 3 pairs has thinking and feeling. What is the thinking? Basically, prefer thinking. You make decision using a logical and objective analysis to make a decisions. That is first how the thinking behave. In the second sense is a feeling. You prefer feelings, make decisions to create harmony by applying a person-centered value. That is my feeling. In my last pair, sensing and perceiving, the first is judging and second is receiving, which are opposing to each other. What is the judging here? So you tend to be organized, orderly, and to make decisions quickly and appropriately. And number two, perceivings, which is opposing. Number four, this is one. If you prefer perceiving, you tend to be flexible and adaptable to keep your options open as long as possible. So these are four pairs and 8 senses are opposing to each others. So we are going to describe in this lectures a brief about all 4 senses and their impact on my communication style, impact on a change management, impact on conflict management. So after conclusion, in my lecture number 6 and 7, we will describe how we can improve our personality and effectiveness and where we can stand to improve ourselves. Thank you very much, and now we are going to discuss first pairs, introversion and extravisions highlights. Okay, personality assessment lecture number 1 already published in my YouTube channel. So today we will recap what we have discussed in my lecture number 1, opposite way to gain energy, extraversion and introversions. Extraversion and introversion constituted into 5 opposite forces: initiating, receiving, expressive, contained, gregarious, intimate, active, reflective, enthusiastic, and quiet. So these are 5 forces we are going to discuss in detail, and we will also brief about a model how we can stay in preference and out of preference as far as my senses are concerned. Okay, now we are going to discuss in extravisions, introversion subsections. So how the first is initiatings. So initiatings, that is social congenials, introduce people's, receiving, that's preserves a low key or introduced. So number 2, expressings, so easier to know, self-revealing, contained, controlled, harder to know, privates. Number 3, gregarious, want to belongs broad circles, intimate, seek intimacy, one-on-one, find individuals. And number 4, actives, interactives, want contact, listen, speak. And outer lookers, that reflective, onlookers, prefer space, read and write. And the last, enthusiastics, and it has the opposite pole is quiet, the lively, energetic, seek, spotlight, calm, enjoy, solitude, seek, and background. That is how these are happening. Okay, on my next slide, we are going to demonstrate model how these subsections are to interact to each other in order to deliver what extraversions and introversions are producing. Okay, now we are going to run a model, extraversion versus introversions, as we have discussed earlier. So the extraversions constituted with 5 segments on the left hand side, and the introversions constituted 5 segments on left hand sides, right hand sides. So both are opposite to each other. What is extraversions? Directing energy toward the others world of the people and objectives, directing energy toward the inner world of the experience and idea. Okay, now we have seen the both ends in preferences on the left hand side and auto preference on left hand side, mean both poles are opposite to each other. So first we'll talk about initiating, in preferences, expressing, and gregarious. So in first initiatings, that is going to social situations, planning and directing gatherings, act as a social facilitator, arranging the situation to act with what you feel best. Carrying out social obligation with fairness, introducing people to each others, enjoy linking people whose interests are similar, genuine want to people to interact and get to know each others as far as the initiation is concerned, but it is opposite to the receiving end. And the second is expressing in preferences. So talk a lot, find it easy to express your feeling and interest to others, are seen by others as a cheerful, warm, and humorous, are easy to get to know. Many sometimes wonders whether you have talked too much or said inappropriate or perhaps embarrassing things. And that is expressions, and that is in pole or opposite is contained. So in number three, the grudgers, that is number threes, that enjoy being with others and dislike of being alone, are socially posed with both strangers and friends, make few distinctions between friends and acquaintances, join groups to enjoy the sense of belonging, feel that being a popular and accepted is important, want to be asked to participate in activities even if you are not really interested in them. So that is how the gregarious, that is your in preferences, and intimate, that is my opposite pole. Okay, now I'm going to discuss introversions, that is my out of preference reflective first, and then we'll talk about the quiet. So what is the reflective? Enjoy reflecting on events in which you have participated, read and write wide and often, enjoy discussing with individuals and in groups with you have read and written, or seen by others as interested in ideas. So that is opposite poles, that is in preference is active here, but we are auto preference, that is reflective. So in number four is a quiet, that seek your own quiet works space much of the time, prefer to stay in a background in large groups, value some quiet time and personal privacy, appear even tempted and rarely over or unexpress yourself, are distracted easily by noise. So that is enthusiastic, that is in preference, that is auto preference, that is shown in the quiet. So now that is how we have demonstrated our five segments, three in preferences and two auto preference, that's the introversion space, and in extraversion space we have discussed three concept: initiating, expressing, and gregarious. How the personality behave if you have multiple concept to demonstrate what you are and what you're going to deliver. Okay, now I am going to recap personality assessment lecture number 2, which has been already published on my YouTube channels, gathering and becoming aware of the information, sensing and intuitions. Sensing and intuition again constituted into 5 senses, and all 5 senses have the opposite force. So concrete, abstract, realistics, imaginatives, practical, conceptuals, experimental, theoretical, traditional, and original. So these are 5 senses we will describe in short into my next slide. Okay, sensing and intuitions. So sensing and intuitions again are constituted into 10 segments, 5 pairs, and each pair has a 2 opposite forces. In first, concrete and abstract. Okay, so what is concrete? Exact facts, literally tangible. Abstract, figurative, symbolic, and intangible. Number 2, realistic, imaginatives. So sensible, matter of fact, see efficiency. But imaginative, resourceful, inventives, seek novelty. Number 3, so pragmatic result, that is practical and conceptual. Pragmatic result oriented applied, and scholarly idea oriented intellectuals. So number 4, experimental, theoretical. Okay, now what is the experimentals? Hands-on, empirical, trust experience, and seek pattern, hypothetical, trust a theory as far as the theoretical is concerned. And the last here, traditional, and original. Conventional customers, tried and try. Unconventional, different, new and unusual, that is original. So these are 5 segments, 5 pairs, opposite forces talk to each other, how the things should happen as per the sensing and intuitions are concerned. In my next slide, we will run a model and see how each pairs, how much they got score and where they are stand against each other. Okay, now we are going to discuss sensing and intuitions. So sensing and intuitions. So first, what is the sensing here? Then intuitions, focusing on what can be perceived by the 5 senses and focus on the perceiving pattern and interrelationship as the intuitions are concerned. So here are concrete realistics as we have discussed earlier. So they are concrete, realistic, practical, experience, tradition. They are in preference and opposite poles, abstract, imaginative, conceptuals, theoretical, original. They are out of preference. So now first we'll discuss in preference. They have scored 5 points, and what is the concrete basically is grounded in the reality and trust the facts, interpret things internally, cautious about making preferences, find it hard to turn to link to facts, the bigger pictures, begin what you know to true and have all the facts in order before moving on, may be seen by others as resistant to change. So that is how the concretes, although you may not see yourself that way. Okay, on the next, in preference is realistic. In preference, realistic. So in realistic here, so that is sensible matter of fact to see the things how they looks like. Take pride in your common sense and ability to realistically appraise situations, value efficiency, practical and cost effective, appreciate direct experiences and tangible results, believe that good techniques lead to good results, are seen as matter of fact and sensible. In number 3, in preferences, practically, find that applying ideas is more appealing than the ideas themselves. Need to see an idea's application to understand it. Impatient listen to ideas if a practical use is not the end results. Favor practical utility over intellectual curiosities. And number 4 here, experimental. So learn best from direct hands-on experiences and rely on its guide you. Careful not to generalize too much. Focus more on the past and present than the futures. Concentrate on what is happening now rather than thinking about meaning and theories. May sometimes get back on details at the expense of the large considerations. So number 5, a traditional here. Identify strongly with what is similar, comfortable with the tried and a true because it provides a precedent to follow, admire and support established institutions and methods, reluctant to change things that are working well, enjoy participating in traditions at work and at home. So that are in preference, concrete, realistic, practical, experimental, tradition are 5 senses are concerned as far as the intuition is concerned. So there's opposite pole, abstract, imaginative, conceptual, theoretical and original. That is the opposite pole, that is out of preferences. In my next slide here, so we are going to have more about how these sensing and intuition will give impact on communications, on change management and conflict management. Okay, personality assessment, lecture number 3. So thinking and feeling. Thinking and feelings, deciding or come to the conclusion about the information. So the lecture number 3 we have already published. You may explore more about what we discussed in lecture number 3. So thinking and feeling again constituted into a 5 pairs. First is logical, empathic, reasonable, compassionate, questioning, accommodating, critical, accepting, tough, and tender. So in my next slide, we will describe how thinking and feeling different pairs are opposing to each other. Okay, now thinking and feeling again are constituted into 5 segments. Each thinking has 5 segments and feeling have 5, so both are opposing to each other. First, we'll think about logical. Impersonal seek impartiality, objective analysis. Empathic here personally seek harmony, centered values. Number 2 are reasonable, truthful, cause and effect, applying principles. Compassionate, so that is opposite pole, tactful, sympathetic, and loyal. And number 3, questioning. What is that? Precise, challenging, want discussions. And opposite, accommodating, approving, agreeable, want harmony. Number 4, critical, accepting, skeptical, want proof, critic, reflective, tolerant, trusting, gave a praise. And last, a tough, firm, tough-minded, and surrendered, tender, gentle, tender-hearted, means-oriented. So these are 5 different poles that constituted thinking versus feeling, which has demonstrate their senses. Now, on my next slide, we're going to run a model how logic, empathic, reasons, compassionate, questioning, accommodating, critical, accepting, reflective, tough, and tendering to behave each other on my next model, which I'm going to demonstrate on my next slide. Okay, now I'm going to discuss on my model, thinking and feeling. First, what is my thinking and feeling here? It run a model which demonstrate my thinking and feeling. First is the thinking. So the conclusion on logical analysis with focus on objectivity. Feeling here, conclusion on personal social value with focus on harmony. Okay, if I can see here, my score bar 0 to 5 on my right hand side and left hand side 0 to 5, 1, 3, 5. So if I move extreme on right hand side, so that is auto preference. If I am move left hand side extreme level, so I am in preference. Now first is a logic. So logic got 3 scores, mean impersonal, seek, impartiality, objective analysis. But over here, but I did not receive anything on the empathy. What is my in preference here? Believe that logical analysis is best for decision making using sequential reasoning with premises and defined rules to reach consistent conclusion. Number 3, hard data to make your decisions, focus on cause and effect, like to maintain a clear boundaries between issues, can easily identify pros and cons of any issue. Okay, number 2 here. So I can see here the 4. I got the score 4. I am again in preference in the reasoning, and compassionate over here, tactful, some systematically loyal. So when I got the 4 score, then truthful, cause and effect, and applying principles. When I am in preference, so reasoning, what I supposed to achieve, reasoning to make decisions, approach situation as an impartial observer, are confident and clear about your objective and decisions, live your life logical with premises leading to a conclusion, view situation objectively and analytically. Number 3 over here, so that is a questioning here. So I am again in preference, questioning, precise, challenging, want decisions. But in opposite poles, that is accommodating, approving, agreeable, want harmony. That is my concept here. So what is questioning basically? In preference, intellectually independent, use question to clarify ideas, precise on your question, likely to zero on a discrepancy, may need to have all your questions answered before you can trust and conclusion. So getting the answer you need, feeling questions is appropriate, even if something is already done. Okay, number 4 here, critical accepting. So skeptical want proof and critics. So in the opposite wave here is reflective, that is tolerant, trusting, and give a praise. So what is in preference critical I'm going to discuss here. Argumentative and skeptical appear almost unemotional in your interactions, take little for granted and concede little, like to clarify what is wrong since nothing is perfect, like to create and or surprise when others don't accept critics as justified and helpful, engage in critique rather than criticism when at all your best. In over here, on my last year, the tough, so I am again very clear and in preference, firm, tough-minded and oriented. So the tender here, so that's the more gentle, tender, hearted means and oriented. So what is the toughness basically? To use intellectual and interpersonal pressures to get your way, focus firmly on achieving your objective, may assume there are no alternative or those available won't work. So result-oriented and comfortable focus on the bottom line, don't pay much attention to people, emotion and may be seen as a cold. So that is how thinking and emotion senses are opposing to each other. So on my next slide, I'm going to discuss how the communication style and enhancement. Number 2, in my conclusion slide, I'm going to discuss change management, style and enhancement. And at the last point, I'm going to discuss conflict management, style and enhancement. Okay, personality assessment, lecture number 4. We have already published lecture number 4, so you may explore more about. Over here, we will give a brief about judging and perceiving as the part of lecture number 4, dealing with the worlds around us. Judging and perceiving again constituted into 5 pairs and each pairs are opposing to each other. Systematical casuals, planful, open-ended, early starting, pressure prompted, scheduled, spontaneously, methodological and emergent. These are 5 senses which are opposing to each other. We are going to discuss in my next slide how these poles are opposing to each other and what we want to gain from each lectures. So in my next slide we will discuss judging and perceiving concept. Okay, now judging and perceiving. Judging and perceiving constituted again of 5 segments. So in each segments, so they are opposing to each other. If you can see on the left hand side, systematic, planful, early starting, scheduled, methodological. On the casual, open-ended, pressure prompted, spontaneous, emergent. So these are 5 forces or 5 senses which are opposing to each other. First, we'll talk about systematical and casuals. Okay, systematically orderly, structured, dislike and divergence. So relaxed, easygoing, welcome, divergence, casual. So in planful and open-ended, future focused. So and make form plans, and open-ended, present focus, go with the flow, make flexible plans. Early starting and pressure prompted to each other's, motivated by self, disciplined, steady progress, motivated by pressures, burst, spots and early start, unstimulated. So then number 4, scheduled and spontaneous, routines make list, procedures helps, variety enjoy, unexpected moments, procedure hindrance, etc. So methodological and emergent here, plan specific task, note, subtask organized, plunge in, let strategies emerge, adaptive. So that is how judging and perceiving have 5 forces or sensing which are opposing to each other. Okay, now we will run a model to demonstrate how judging and perceiving, sensing or behaving or responding to each other. First is the judging here. So the preferred decisiveness and closures, perceiving, preferring flexibility and spontaneous. So now this is my score bar here. 0 to 5 on right hand side and left hand side. So it is divided in the first is if it's in 0 it will be mid zone, and if it's right hand side so that is out of preference, if it's on the left hand side then it is in preference. So first is moderate, second is clear, and fourth is very clear. So moderate, clear, first mid zone, moderate, clear, and very clear. Similarly on the right hand sides the first moderate, clear, and very clear. So in the mid zone it's showing a 0 value. So extreme right hand sides casual, open-ended, pressure prompted, spontaneous, emergent, and similarly the systematically planful, early started, scheduled, and methodological. So that is how the things happen. So first we'll discuss about systematical and casual. So we will talk about systematical because it is in preference. It's got 5 marks. What is systematic in preference? Live by the motto, be prepared, plan for the worst case scenario with many contingencies in place. Work within a superstructures of efficiency, dislike any kind of divergence, do not like surprise. Okay, number 1. Number 2, planful, that's again in preference versus open-ended. So it is clear, it got score clear, not very clear. Very clear mean it will be on grade 5. So what is the planful? Like to make long range plans, especially for leisure activities, enjoy looking ahead and planning for the future. May enjoy the planning more than the doing. Feel that long range planning makes you more efficient and ensure that things will happen the way you want. That is planful in preference. In the third here, we will talk about pressure prompted and early starting. But because we are in preference early starting, so we will discuss early starting. In preference, allow yourself plenty of time to accomplish an activity efficiently. Do not like a feeling overwhelmed with too much to do. Average your work so you don't have to deal with last minute rush. Work on multiple tasks comfortably by starting ahead of time and working on each task for short concentrated period of time. Can't forget incomplete task. Feel calm and satisfied when you complete something. So number 4 here, scheduled and spontaneous. So the schedule here, want routine, make list, procedure, help, etc. So what is the schedule in preference? Comfortable with routine and do not like them upset. Like established methods and procedures, prefer to control how you spend your time. Enjoy scheduling both work and fun activities. Others may be more aware of your routines than you are. Appear rather than predictable, but like it to that should happen. On the last here, methodical and emergent. What is the emergent or methodical? Develop detailed plan for the task at hand. That is methods we are talking about in preference. So define the subtask of your work, including the orders in which things should happen. Thoroughly prepare in precise ways. Specifically, all the steps need to accomplish the goals or like to do earlier what you have prepared in advance with little diversions. So that is how judging and perceiving, sensing or behaving to each other. Now we have discussed. On my next slide, we are going to discuss what is the judging and perceiving impact on communications. That is my conclusion slide on change management and conflict management. So now we will conclude with communication, change management and conflict management. Okay, now we are going to conclude how these 4 senses are impacting our communication style. So extraversion, introversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, judging and perceiving. Okay, influence how you communicate, especially as a part of team. 4 of the facets extracted from all 8 senses are particularly relevant to communicate. In order to have better communication, include the following. First, tell others what kind of information you need. Ask others what they need. Number 3, monitor your impatience when others style dominate. Number 4, realizing that other like are not trying to annoy you when they are to use their own communication style. Okay, now we have given a 4 facets. First, initiating, expressing, reflective, and quiet. First, we'll discuss initiating. So, what communication style? Start interactions by helping people get to know one another. That is first here. And enhancement communication, make sure that people actually need and want this introduction. That is what you're supposed to do for enhancement. And number 2, expressing. Here, expressing, say whatever in your mind to anyone who will listen. The first here, your communication style is supposed to. And enhancement, recognize when it is important not to say what is on your mind and then don't say it. Okay. Now, in number 3, reflective, like to communicate by reading and writing here. So, recognize that your message might not get across unless you are willing to say it loud. Okay. Now, in next here, so the quiet, experience your enthusiasm internally, don't show them to others. Be aware others will think you are uninterested. Selectively let people know what really interests for you. So that is how the communication can be enhanced. First, we have discussed what are the 4 facets from 8 senses and what is my communication style and how I can improve or enhance. Okay, this is my second slide of conclusion. How these 4 senses are impacting on change management. Extraversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, judging, and perceiving. Okay, influence your style of managing change. 4 facets extracted from all the senses are particularly relevant to change management. Change seems to be inevitable and affects people in different ways. To help you deal with the change, first be clear about what is change and what is remaining the same. Number 2, identify what you need to know to understand the change and then seek out that information to help others deal with the change. Okay. Number 3, encourage your discussions about the change. Be aware that this is easier for some than others. Make sure that both logical reason, personal, social values have considered during the change. Okay. Now, we will discuss 4 facets into change management. First, expressing, gregarious, concrete, and realistic. First is expressing here. Okay. What change management style? Freely share your feeling about the change with others. Number 1 here. Okay. Enhancing change management. Limit your expressiveness to those who appreciate your style. Give time to others to think things through. Okay, that is enhancement style here. Gregarious here. First here, discuss the changes and their impact on you with broadest range of people. Okay, so then enhance change management. Be aware that people vary in their levels of interest in what you have to say and thus be selective in whom you talk to. So that is your enhancement. So number 3, concrete, may get stuck on some aspects of change and ignore others. That is change management styles. And what enhancement change management is? Ask of someone to help you move from facts to detail to reasonable possibilities. So that is how the enhancement can happen. So realistic, focus on common sense aspects of the change. Number 2, the change of management style. Realize that common sense outcome may not be immediately apparent. So that is enhance of your change management. So these are the 4 facets which are impacting by the 4 senses, which we have recapped in my earlier slides. In my earlier slide, we have discussed how these are 4 senses impacting on communication style, change management. Now we are going to discuss conflict management. So extraversion, introversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, judging, and perceiving, how these 4 senses are impacting on conflict management. Okay, First here, conflicts are inevitable when working with others. People of distinct personality types may differ in what they define as conflict, how they react to it, and how they reach resolution. Although sometimes unpleasant conflict often lead to improved work situation and enhanced relationships. First, taking care of getting work done while maintaining your relationship with the people involved. Number two here, recognize that all perspectives have something to add, but any perspective used in its extreme and to the exclusion of its opposite will ultimately impede conflict resolutions. Okay, now we will discuss four facets again: expressive, gregarious, questioning, and critical. Okay, first, the conflict management style here, the expressive here. Discuss the conflicts and your emotional reaction to it immediately. That's the first here. So, what is enhanced conflict management? Be aware that even though others may not speak up immediately, they may feel strongly about the issue. Okay. Number two, gregarious. Involve all relevant people in resolve the conflict, not just those you know well. Okay. That is the second. Respect the need of some people to remain uninvolved until they are ready to participate. That is the enhancement of the conflict management. Questioning here, number three, ask many questions of others to reveal all the issues in the conflict here. So then the enhancement of conflict management, be aware that the people may take your question style as a challenging rather than helpful in resolving the issues. Be clear about your intent. Okay, last is the critical here. So point out everything that is still wrong and needs corrections, realizing that your style may upset others and try to pull back and be more accepting. So that is how enhancing conflict management. So this was my last slide. Now we have discussed all four senses impacted communication, change management, and conflict management. Thank you very much. In my lecture number 6 and 7, we will conclude how we can get benefit after improving all four senses. Okay, on my lecture number 6 and 7, we will describe how we can improve our personality after implementing what we all four senses and their opposite poles. Please don't hesitate, send me your feedback and comments t.masood.dr@bath.edu. Many thanks and stay safe, strong, inspired and blessed. Thank you very much again.